In this video, I'm going to show you how to import your LUTs into DaVinci Resolve and then add them to your log footage. So the first thing we're going to do is go File, Project Settings, okay, over here. Now, if you didn't know, there is a quicker way to get to the project settings. It's at the bottom right over here, this little icon. You can click that and that'll get you right into your project settings. Now, once you have this tab open, you're looking for color management on the left side here, okay? So you've got a whole bunch of options here. Color management is the one you're looking for. And then if you scroll down here, you're looking for the button that's called Open LUT Folder. So click on that. It's going to open your folder that has all of the LUTs in it already. Some of these were just their default with DaVinci when you got your DaVinci. But all you have to do is find the specific LUT that you want to use on your computer. Maybe you purchased something and downloaded it to your computer and you want to drag and drop it into this folder, okay? So do that, pop it in this folder. You can then close it, go back here. I would then hit Update Lists like that, click Save, and you're done. Now you may have to quit DaVinci and then restart it for it to actually show up, but essentially that's the process, okay? Now that we have our LUTs loaded into DaVinci, I'm gonna show you two ways that I use to add the LUTs to the log footage. The first way is my batch process, okay? So this is what I do when I just wanna quickly add the LUTs to everything all in one shot because I have a ton of footage. So I am in the Edit tab. I don't have to go anywhere else for this process. I can do it right in the Edit tab, and I have all my log footage loaded in over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the first one, and then I'm going to scroll all the way down, and I'm going to shift click the last one. That highlights everything. Okay. Now, before I actually add the LUT, I should mention the LUT that I'm going to use in this example has the conversion to Rec 709 and the stylistic look all built into one LUT. Okay, now I bought this particular one because of that. That sped up my workflow and I love how this one actually looks. But if you don't have something like that, you have to do your conversion to Rec 709 first, and then you have to add your contrast and start building the look from there. So I wanted to avoid that process just because I have to edit so much, and this is the quicker way to do it in my opinion. So with everything highlighted, I'm gonna right click and I'm gonna go to my LUTs over here, and then I'm gonna look down in this drop down tab, and everything that I have imported and even the default LUTs that come with DaVinci, they're all gonna live in this area. The one that I'm gonna add is called Neutral A7S3 Legacy. Okay, this is a LUT that I purchased online. I found it in a YouTube video. It's an Arri Alexa LUT, so it's got the look of the Arri cameras. And like I said before, it's got the Rec 709 conversion plus the look all built into one app. So literally all I have to do is click it and we're done. The look gets applied to every shot that I've highlighted all in one shot. And again, I don't have to do two separate steps. It's got the look and it has that conversion right off the bat. And it really does save a whole bunch of time, okay? So this first process, again, is my batch process. It just takes care of all of my shots all in one go. Super simple and one of my favorite ways to do it. Now, the second way to add a LUT that I'm going to show you is the individual way, going clip by clip. So what I have to do first is grab the clip that I want to work on and throw it in the timeline. Now, I'm going to go to the color tab. So before we were working in the edit tab, but now I'm going to go into the color tab. So now that I'm in the color tab, I'm going to add my LUT to an individual node. And this is where your nodes live over here. If you don't have experience working on nodes, I mean, there'll be another video that'll deep dive this stuff, but simply a node is like a layer, like picture Photoshop where you're working on layers and everything can be done non-destructively, so you're not damaging the footage, and you can always refer back to the original footage that doesn't have the color work done to it. So that's the essential idea with these nodes. So now that I know that, I'm going to right click this node and I'm going to go down to LUT and I'm going to add my LUT, and here it is, just like we saw it in the other version. I'm just going to click and add the LUT to this clip. Okay, now it's done the conversion, everything looks great. The idea here is that if I want to then work on exposure or fine tune white balance or do anything else, or maybe add a second LUT, now I can start building in and around this LUT and do everything on a specific layer. Okay. So as an example, I'm going to add, maybe I want to bump up the shadows, just give it some lift. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit Shift and S. And what that did, Shift S is a command that adds a new node before the node I was working on. Okay, so it put the node before. That means that the exposure that I'm going to start working on is going to happen before the LUT conversion, because the LUT is over here. So you do want to do that when you're working on your clips. You want to do exposure, white balance, all these color correction type stuff before the LUT conversion. Okay, and then we add the LUT. So that's why I wanted to do my Shift S. It adds a node before it, and it turned it to my number 1 node. So now that I know that, clicked on this first node, I could then go over and lift my shadows and brighten things up a bit if I feel it needed that. Or I can go to my gain and bring some exposure up this way as well. And that looks really good. Yeah, looks beautiful. Now, the final thing I'll show you guys is if I want to add one more LUT to this, and I do have LUTs that are referred to as finishing LUTs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new node, and I'm going to hit Option S, and that puts a node after all of these nodes over here. Okay, so the first one I showed you was Shift S, which put a node before your main node, and then Option S put the node after, because I want my last and final node to have my finishing LUT. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on that layer or that node. I'm going to go down to my LUTs, and I have a LUT here that I purchased called Lens Distortion Finishing LUTs. Okay, I really like these, and I add this to most of my projects. And what I'll do is I'm going to grab this one called Earthy Monochrome 3 that I really like, and I'm going to throw it on. And it just gives it another layer of style. Okay. Now, if I don't want this at full power and I want to bring the opacity down, again, think like Photoshop if you're bringing the opacity down in a layer. So what you would do is go to this little tab here that's called Key. Okay, and I click on that, and the thing that you're looking for is this key output. Okay, key output, and then it has your gain level. So if I want to bring down the gain, that's going to essentially do the same thing as bringing down your opacity in Photoshop. So now that layer isn't at full force, it's at 0.65. Okay, so you would just play with that until you're happy. Alternatively, you could go the other way and add more, but in this case, I just wanted it to be not full power, so something around here looks pretty good. Okay, now a little tip if you didn't know it, if you want to turn that layer on and off, if you click on the bottom left here where the number is, that turns the layer off. So here's the look with the first LUT, the Ari Alexa LUT, and then here's with my finishing LUT. Okay, here's before and here's after, and I really like it. I might actually bring this up a little bit, maybe more like 0.84, something like that. So here's before and here's after. So there you go. That's how you add LUTs in DaVinci Resolve. Super simple. I do prefer the way where it's one and done, not the two separate steps where it's Rec 709 first and then the color look after. I like to have these LUTs like my Ari Alexa one where it's just drag and drop and I'm all good to go. Hope that helps, and we'll see you in the next video.